Assalamu alaikum. Slide number 2. In the last lecture, we discussed about the measures of location. That is that one single value around which most of the values of the variable cluster, or that value which is the central value of the data and sometimes used to represent the data. In this presentation, in this lecture, we are going to discuss measures of variation. Measures of variation give us an idea about the disperse of the data, about the variability of the data. So we are going to discuss this in this lecture. Slide number 3. Measures of dispersion, also known as measures of variation. They give us an idea about the variability of the observations. Okay. The question is, why do we need the variability of the observation? Let us take an example. Suppose blood pressure of some persons were recorded from different vilayats, say 4 vilayats, A, B, C, D, and the averages of the diastolic BP of the adult males were obtained, and it was found that all of them are 80. Can we say that all the 4 samples as far as the diastolic blood pressure is concerned are same? Because the means are same. Let us see the individual observations of each sample. Look, the first sample, it shows that there is no variability. All the 5 individuals whose BP was recorded, they showed BP same 80. See, in the second sample from vilayat B, the variability is less. The highest value, the maximum value is 83, the minimum is 77, and although the mean is same, but there is some variability here. See the third one. Here the variability, the minimum is 70, the maximum is 88, that is 18 units variation from the minimum to maximum value. And see the last sample, there is too much variability here, although the mean is same, but variability is too much. The minimum is 55, maximum is 105. That means only mean or only location value is not enough to draw some conclusion about the variable, about the sample. We also need some measures which may give us the idea about the variability of the data. So this we shall be studying in this presentation. Slide number 4. There are many measures of variability which give us the idea about the disperse of the observations, but we shall be discussing here only 5 which are commonly used: range, interquartile range, variance, standard deviation, it is the most important measure of variability, measure of dispersion, and coefficient of variation. So we shall be discussing these 5 in this presentation. Slide number 5. Range. Actually, range is the difference between the highest and the lowest observation. Let us take this example: 5, 9, 12, 3, 14, etc. And as range is the difference between the maximum and minimum value. So in this sample, the maximum is 18, the minimum is 3, and therefore the range equal to 15. Okay. The positive point here is range can be easily obtained. Just subtract the lowest value from the largest value. the negative point here is that it does all the other values are not involved in calculation of range, only extreme values are involved. So that if there is only one extreme value, that will result in giving you a higher value of the range because of only one value. So it is not very frequently used, and because it involves only extreme values on both sides. Slide number 6, interquartile range. Please recall we discussed about the quartiles in the last presentation. Actually, interquartile range is the range of middle 50% observations. What does it mean? You are familiar with the quartiles. If you arrange the distribution in ascending order, then quartiles, there are 3 quartiles, and they are the point such that the number of observations before Q1 are 25%, between Q1 and Q2 are 25%, between Q2 and Q3 are 25%. This we have seen. That is, Q1 is that point below which are 25%, and Q3 is that point above which is 25%. This distance between Q3 and Q1, it is known as interquartile range. That is, IQR is equal to Q3 minus Q1. If the curve is symmetric, then they will be at equidistant. If the curve is not symmetric, like the curve given here, that is, there are some extreme values on the lower side, then the distance between the Q1 and Q2 and Q2 and Q3 may not be same, or will not be same, as clear here. Also, if you recall, we discussed about the box plots in the descriptive statistics in the graphic section. Box plots is also based on the interquartile range concept, and also we discussed about the extreme values and outliers. In most of the studies, for the analysis purpose, we exclude the extremes. Box length is nothing but the interquartile range. The middle line is the median, the lower part of the box is Q1, and the upper edge is the Q3. And extremes and outliers, extremes actually are obtained with the help of the interquartile range, and the cutoff point which decides which are the extremes is Q3 plus 3 into interquartile range. That is, multiply the box length by 3 and measure for the upper extremes. Extremes may be on the upside, that is upper extremes, or maybe on the lower side, that is the lower extremes. For upper extremes, the 3 box length is added to Q3, and that point is the cutoff point for upper extremes. And outliers, similarly, outliers are obtained by measuring the distance of Q3 plus 1.5 times interquartile range. That is the box length is the interquartile range, into 1.5 gives you the cutoff point for outliers, and Q3 plus 3 times box length gives you the cutoff point for extremes, upper extremes. For lower extremes, the values are taken same as the 3 into IQR and 1.5 into IQR, interquartile range, but they are from the Q1, that lower part of the box, and that give the cutoff point for lower extremes and lower outliers. We shall be taking an example on the following page to make it more clear. Slide number 7. An example has been taken here to explain how to get the cutoff points for outliers and extremes. A box plot is given here for BMI for those who are aged less than 20 years. Okay, this box plot is given to you. You know that if you make the box plot using the SPSS program, the extremes are shown as stars and outliers are displayed as circles, small circles, O. The cutoff point here for extreme is given 40.7, that is all values of BMI who are 47 or above should be included in extremes. And outlier cutoff point is given 32.3, that is any value from 32.3 to less than 40.7 shall be termed as outlier. How do we get these values? In the box plot you are given the value of Q1, the first quartile, the lower part of the box, and the upper quartile. If they are given to you, you can get the interquartile range. Q3 minus Q1, that is equal to 5.6. This value will help to get the cutoff points for extremes and for outliers. Interquartile range into 3 and interquartile range into 1.5 will give you the cutoff point for outliers and extremes, and therefore the cutoff point for extreme will be 16.8 IQR into 3, and 5.6 is the interquartile range, and 3 to get the extreme cutoff point. And similarly, cutoff point for outliers will be obtained by using the value 8.4 interquartile range into 1.5. This. Now, cutoff point for the upper extreme will be third quartile plus 16.8. Q3 plus 16.8. If you put the value, it is 40.7. This is how we get the cutoff point for extreme. Similarly, the cutoff point for outlier, upper outlier, it will be Q3 plus 1.5 times interquartile range, which was 8.4, and you will get this value as 32.3. Similarly, for lower extremes and lower outliers, the cutoff points may be obtained by subtracting these values from Q1. Okay, if you observe here in the box plot, the bars, there is a bar there which is known as whisker. At the end of this, before outlier, it is known as lowest whisker. This is the whisker value, and this is also the whisker value. It is known as whisker. And what are these values actually? Outliers will be shown in the figure as small o's. The highest value of the variable before outlier is the upper whisker, and the highest value, the lowest value before the lowest outlier will be the lower whisker. So whisker is the highest value and the lowest value which is not touching, not crossing the outlier boundary. So this is how we get the cutoff points for extremes and outliers. Slide number 8. Variance. Variance measure the deviation of or variability of observations from arithmetic mean. That is what is the disperse of the data on both sides of the mean. Variance gives idea about that one. There is a formula for computing the variance. Variance involves all observations in calculation, whereas range was involving only two extreme values, and interquartile range was involving only middle 50% values because you were excluding the first 25% values before first quartile and last 25% values after the second quartile. Variance involves all the observations in calculation. Suppose you have a sample of size n, then the formula of the variance is given summation x minus x bar square over n minus 1. Okay, that is, subtract the mean from each observation and get and square it and get the total of all these squares and divide by n minus 1, where n is the size of the sample. The problem in this formula is that if x bar is in decimals, usually it is in decimals, then it will be difficult to calculate it. So the same formula can be rewritten as in such a way that x bar is not needed there, and that is known as calculation formula. So this formula can be written like this. So here you need only sigma x and sigma x square, that is, get the total of all observations and square all the observations and get the total, and you substitute in the formula, you will get the value of the variance, where n is the number of observations. That is, you need these three constants to calculate the variance: the sample size, the sum of the observations, and sum of squares of the observations. If you have these three values, please recall, in case of mean, you were requiring only the sum of the observations and size of the sample. Here you need one more information: sum of the squares of the observations. Because you are squaring the observations here and then getting the value, the unit of the variance will be the square of the unit of the variable. For example, if your variable is height and you have measured the height in centimeters, that is x1, x2 up to xn are in centimeters, then the variance will be whatever value you are getting by this formula, that will be centimeter square. Slide number 9. We are taking an example to show how the variance is calculated. We shall be using both the formulas which we discussed in the last slide, and we'll show that the variance remains same if you either use the first formula or the second formula. Suppose the observations are given here: 2, 3, 4, 2, 5 and 2. Okay. Variance formula, the main formula, you have to subtract the value of the mean from each observation and then square the difference and add it, and is given here as 6. Okay. You will get the x bar you will get it equal to 3. Add it and divide by 6 observations. Okay. Variance is subtract mean from each observation and square and total it and divide by n minus 1. Okay. So your average is 2 minus 3 square plus 3 minus 3 square plus 4 minus 3 square and so on till the 2 minus 3 square. The minus value will also be, because you are squaring it, the sign will be positive, and that means 1 square will be 1, 0 will be 0, again 1 square will be 1, and so on. When you will solve it, you will get variance equal to 1.6. Okay, by using the actual formula. It was easy to calculate because your x bar was a whole number and the values are smaller, so you subtracted the mean from every observation and you calculated that. Let us use the second formula, where we are calculating variance without calculating the mean. The formula is summation of x square over n minus 1 minus summation x whole square over n into n minus 1. Okay, sigma x sum of the squares over n minus 1 means 5 minus sigma x is 18, we have seen above, and 18 square over n into n minus 1, and n is 6, n minus 1 is 5, you will calculate it. This total is 62, 2 square plus 3 square and so on, and 18 square is 324, 6 into 5 is 30. When you substitute it, you calculate, you got both the variances exactly same. And whenever we are calculating variance, we use the formula where we are not required to calculate the mean. That is, for variance, I am again repeating, you need three constants: sigma x, that is sum of the observations; sigma x square, that is sum of the squares of the observations; and the size of the sample. Slide number 10. Standard deviation. Its name is also standard in here, and also standard deviation is the most widely used measure of variation or measure of dispersion. It is same as it is actually, if you calculate variance, you will get the SD directly, because SD is the positive square root of the variance. That is, for calculating SD, you will have to calculate variance and then get the square root. When you take the square root, one value is negative, one is positive. SD is the positive square root of the variance. It can never be the negative value. That is, write the formula of the variance and take the square root, that is your SD. The positive point here is that its unit is same as the variable. Look what happens whenever we are describing, if you see in different research papers or in literature, whenever for any data, sample or population, when we give the, usually we are having the sample information, when we give the mean to show the location value, along with we give the SD also, that is, this is the mean and this is the variability. In case of variance, the problem was that the variance was having the unit square of the actual variable. So in that case, the unit was different for mean and variance. Here, the unit of the is same as the mean and SD. So its unit is same as the variable. Okay. There is a very important characteristic of SD or variance also, because both are the same. It is not affected by change of origin, but gets affected by change of scale. This we will prove in the following slide, that how the SD or variance are not influenced or not changed by the change of origin. We usually denote the sample SD as small s and the population SD, that is the parameter, as sigma, a Greek letter sigma. That is, S is the statistic sample constant and sigma is the parameter, the population constant used for to denote the standard deviation. Slide number 11. SD or variance are not affected by change of origin. Okay, we will show this by taking an example. What does change of origin means? If you add some constant or subtract some constant from all the observations, it is the change of origin. That is, instead of measuring from 0, you added say 3, then it means you have shifted your origin from 0 to 3. Suppose a sample based on 5 observations is given to you, 1, 3, 5, 7, 4, and the mean of this sample is 4, and therefore you can calculate the variance. You may use any formula here, because you got mean a whole number. You can get the variance by subtracting the mean from every observation and then squaring. 1 minus 4 square plus 3 minus 4 square and so on. You will get the variance of the sample as 5. 20 by 4, 5. Okay. Now, suppose you are adding a constant, say 3, to each observation, and therefore the new sample would be 4, 6, 8, 10 and 7. You added 3 to every observation. Now if you compute the mean of this sample, so the mean will be now 7, and if you calculate the variance as you did above, then you will get the variance exactly same as the variance which you calculated from the original sample. Actually, the idea is that very easily you will understand this one. This was the sample. Suppose in this sample you are adding, its mean was 5. Suppose you are adding 10, and therefore the new sample would be 10 plus 1 means 11, 13, 15. And here the mean, when you will calculate the mean, it will be 15. What is variance or SD? Variance or SD gives the variability around mean. When you change the origin, you added some constant, the mean also the same was added, that is mean also changed accordingly, and now the variability will be measured from this mean. If you see the distance is same, say, take the first observation, 1 to 5 is distance 4, 11 to 15 4, like this. So that's why, because along the observation mean is also shifted according to the value which you added, and therefore the variability remains same. Slide number 12. Here one example has been taken in which we will discuss how to calculate the SD or variance when some information is given to us. The question is, blood pressure of 10 males and 12 females was recorded and the following values were found. For males, sample size 10 is given and mean was calculated as 82 and SD was calculated as 6. Similarly for females, females are 2 more than the males, 12, the mean was 82 and SD is equal to 8. Okay, you can have an idea about the combined SD from this information, and then if your result is coming according to that one, means you did the calculation in the right way. If the sample sizes would have been equal, then SD would have been the middle of the two, that is 6 and 7. The middle of this is 7, that is average is 7. But now you are given n is for males n is 10 and females n is 12. Female sample size is more, and therefore SD will be tilted towards the combined SD would be towards the female SD, and because female SD is more than male SD, and therefore you are likely to get, or you will be getting, the combined SD more than 7. Now we are going to solve it and you will check it from your result. Now the question is obtain combined mean and combined SD. Okay, you know the formulas of mean and variance, and you will get for finding the combined variance, you want combined sigma x and combined sigma x square, and n will be combined, n will be 22. Okay, I think you have solved a problem in which combined x was to be calculated from the mean, and you know that for combined x you need sigma x for males and sigma x for females. You know this mean into sample size will give sigma x, and you will get the combined sigma x as 1828. Okay, how to get the sigma x square? Similarly, you need to calculate sigma x square separately for the two samples, and then that they are to be added to get the combined sigma x square value. You can rearrange the formula. The formula is variance of x equal to sigma x square over n minus 1. So you rearrange, because you are looking for sigma x square. So your formula, this formula can be written like this: sigma x square equal to n minus 1 variance of x plus sigma x whole square over n into n minus 1. You have rearranged the formula. Now these informations are given to you. N is for both the samples, n is given to you, variance SD given, you square it will be variance, and sigma x also you have calculated, it is given, and therefore you will get, for males, substitute the values, you will get sigma x square for males like this, and similarly for females, substituting the values, you will get sigma x square for females. Now you add these two to get the combined sigma x square. Now you have the combined sigma x and the combined sigma x square. The combined sample size will be 22. Substitute in the formula of the variance. You are supposed to find combined mean and combined SD both. So combined SD you will get by dividing 1828 by 22, and similarly combined variance you will get, substitute the value sigma x square for 22 number and sigma x for 22, and substitute the formula, you will get the variance as 49.99. But this is the variance. The question was for the SD. Get the square root of this value and you will get SD equal to 7.07. That is it, what we discussed in the beginning, that you see, and because sample size for female is more than for males, and therefore the combined SD will be towards 8, that is more than 7. Slide number 13. One more numerical problem has been considered here. Blood pressure of 12 persons was recorded and mean and SD were respectively calculated as 82 and 5. Later it was noticed that one observation was wrongly taken as 80 while the correct one was 90. Find correct mean and correct SD. That is, you have to replace the wrong one, the value by the correct one, and then you have to recalculate. Again you are doing the same thing. You are going to get the sigma x and sigma x square from the given information, and this sigma x and sigma x square will be the wrong summations because they are based on the wrong value. Then from these totals you will be subtracting the wrong value, adding the correct value, and then you shall be computing the correct mean and correct SD. For correct mean you have already solved a problem. So now your objective is to get the correct sigma x and correct sigma x square. For correct sigma x, first you will get the wrong sigma x and you will get the correct by subtracting the wrong value, adding the correct value. You are given this information. Wrong sigma x will be n into some x bar and 10 into, that is 820 is the wrong sigma x, and correct will be from 820 subtract the wrong value, add the correct value. So 830 is the correct sigma x. Okay. Now you need to get the correct sigma x square. So using the variance formula, you will be calculating first the wrong sigma x square, and then that is substitute the values. Variance will be the square of the SD, 5 square. Sigma x square is to be calculated. Sigma x, look, this is the wrong sigma x square you are going to calculate, and therefore in the total you have to use, because this variance is based on the wrong sigma x, so you have to use the wrong sigma x, that is 820. And when you will solve, after substituting the values, you will get sigma x square equal to 67465. This is the wrong sigma x square. Now you have to be careful to get the correct sigma x square. This is the sum of the squares of the observation. The wrong value was 80, correct is 90. So subtract the 80 square and add the 90 square, and doing this one you will get the correct sigma x square. Now substitute the values in the formula. Correct mean, you know that divide the correct total by 10, and for correct variance you substitute the values, the correct values, and you will get this variance. And the correct, a question was for SD, you can get the SD, and now this SD is 5.528. This you can get by substituting the value in the formula. Slide number 14. One more exercise has been taken here, again on diastolic blood pressure. A diastolic blood pressure of 10 persons were recorded, and variance and of the sample was calculated as 81 mm of Hg square. The unit will be in square. That variance is 81. Obtain mean of the sample. It is given that sum of the squares of the observation, that is sigma x square, is 67969. Directly you will just substitute the values here. You are given this information. For mean you want sigma x. In the variance formula all information is available with you. Sigma x is not given, n is given, and variance is given, and sigma x square is given. Substitute the values in the formula and solve. Sigma x whole square is not given, so you will get sigma x whole square is equal to this value, and therefore take the square root of this one to get the sigma x, which is 820, and therefore your mean will be equal to 820 by 10, and simply substitute doing the formula, the value in the formula, and formulas are given. Slide number 15. Sometimes we are interested in comparing the variability between two variables. Which variable is having more variability, more disperse? Okay, let us take an example. You are given that, suppose you are interested in knowing whether the variability among adult persons, among height is more, or variability in weight is more, or in height is more. This you are interested, and you have measured the height and weight of 10 adult persons, and you calculated the average of height is as 174 centimeter and SD 10 centimeter, and average weight was say 70 kgs, and the SD was 8 kgs. Your objective is to know which of these two variables is having more variability, or which one is having less variability. For variability, SD is the most commonly used measure. Suppose this is the question, which variable, height or weight, has more variability? You will compare the SDs, and it shows that the variability in height is more than weight. But if you again calculate, height in inches and weight in kgs, now you see the SD. Now when you change the unit of height, you might have taken in meters, then it must have been much lesser than this one. Then it shows that the weight is having more variability. No, this is not the right way, because any variable can be measured in any unit and then the value will be different. So it's not convincing. So we need actually some measure which should be unitless, and that should give us the amount of variability or the variability and then on that basis we can say which variable is having more variability. Okay, let us see how do we do that. Slide number 16, coefficient of variation. This is the fifth measure of dispersion which we are studying. We study range, interquartile range, variance and ST. What is coefficient of variation? It is used to compare variability of two variables of say different units, maybe of the same unit at different magnitude. For example, you may compare whether the variability of height among children of 10 years age and among the adults of say 30 years age, which is having more variability. So maybe the same unit but the magnitude is different. Or when you are interested in comparing the variability of two different units, then we use coefficient of variation. What is this? Actually, it expresses SD as a percentage of mean. What I mean? There is a formula for computing coefficient of variation. You calculate SD of the sample and mean of the sample, divide SD by mean and multiply it by 100. As the sign of SD and mean are same, the sign will be cancelled and it will be a unitless quantity, and because you are multiplying by 100, so it is a percentage. It is expressed as percentage. It has no unit. It is presented as percentage. Okay. So now it's very simple. But look, the ideas are in the questions. The concept will be asked. I shall be discussing some questions, MCQs, after this slide. So that is understanding the concept is very, very important for all these, for range, interquartile range, for SD, variance and coefficient of variance. The main thing is to understand the concept. Consider this example: height and weight of 20 adult males were recorded and the following results were obtained. You are given average height 174, SD 10 cm, weight 70 kg and SD 8 for the weight. On the basis of SD, height appears to be having more variability, but you calculate the coefficient of variation, SD upon mean into 100. So the coefficient of variation for height is 5.75% and for weight is 11.43%. You will compare this for knowing which is having more variability, and it shows that weight has more variability than height. So we decide on the basis of coefficient of variation that which variable is having more variability, and it is obtained by dividing SD by mean and multiplying by 100, and we express it as a percentage. Slide number 17. These three slides will give you the idea about the MCQs which may be asked in the examination. Okay. Weights of 10 persons were recorded and mean and SD were calculated as 72 kgs and 10 kgs respectively. Later it was noticed that weighing machine was defective and was showing 2 kgs more than the actual weight. That is, if the weight of the person was 60 kgs, machine was showing 62 kgs. Correct CV of the above sample is, you are supposed to calculate the coefficient of variation, and the correct one is to be selected by you. You know that the formula, you are given the mean as 72 kgs and SD as 10 kgs. Okay. And machine is defective, showing 2 kgs excess. Okay. You know the formula is equal to SD over mean into 100. Now you want the correct CV, means the 2 kgs which is extra, you have to minus it. Okay. Correct mean will be what? Because everyone is having 2 kg extra, the mean will also be 2 kg extra, and the correct mean will be equal to 70 kg. What about the correct SD? We know that SD and variance are independent of change of origin. Actually, by the defect in the machine, the origin was changed, that is 2 units were added. So if you take out these 2 units extra, 2 kgs extra which are there, SD will not be affected. So SD will remain same. And once now you will calculate using these correct values. This calculation you will have to do 14.29. That means the correct answer is 14.29%. So here which concept was used, that SD is not affected by change of origin. Okay. You need to know the concepts very well. Slide number 18. It's a very good question. I like this question. Weights of 20 persons were recorded and mean and variance of the sample were calculated 71 kgs and 64 kgs square. Okay, that is SD is 8 because square root of 64 is 8. Okay, let us see what is the question. Later, it was noticed that weight of one person was wrongly noted as 65. Weight of one person is wrong. The machine is okay. While the correct weight was 70 kgs. Mean is 71 kgs and the wrong value was 65 kgs. Mean is 71 kgs and variance is 64 kgs square. Wrong value was 65 kgs and the correct value was 70 kg. Replacing the wrong value, that is 65, by the correct value, that is 70, what will be the effect on the variance? Variance will remain same. Variance will increase, variance will decrease. Fourth option is can't say with certainty as other 19 weights are not given. Okay, just think it. You are replacing one value, it was 65 and now you are changing it to 70 and the mean is 71 kgs. You know this is the variance formula, that is you are measuring the difference of each observation from the mean and then to squaring and totaling it to get the variance. Now just check, just see here, the correct value, that is which is 70 kg, is closer to the mean 71 kg. And when you will replace it, you will see that in the variance formula, the numerator sigma x minus x bar whole square, it will decrease because this value is more close to mean. When it will decrease, it means the variance after replacing the value will also decrease. So this question is also based on the concept that because the value coming to the nearer, the variance will decrease. And one question was last year, I think, I am not putting it here but just giving the idea, and that is it was given that for 10 persons mean NSD was given and one more value was added, that is the sample was made to 11 numbers and the value which was added, that was exactly same as the mean. What effect will be on variance? If you are adding a value that is from 10, the sample size becoming 11 and the value which you are adding is exactly same as the mean, it means the distance of that value from the mean will be 0, but the denominator will increase it because earlier the sample size was 10, now it will be 11, and that will again result in decreasing the variance or the SD after adding one more value which is exactly same as the mean. So these are the questions which are based on concept if the formula is in your mind and you know the concept, you can very quickly answer that question. Slide number 19. Here the MCQ is fasting sugar of 500 persons was recorded and 3 quartiles were obtained as Q1 4.5, Q2 5.5, Q3 6.4. You know the concept. What does 4.5 means? Q1, it means 25% of the persons are having fasting sugar less than 4.5. Q2 5.5 means 50% persons are having fasting sugar less than this, and Q3 6.4 means 75% less than this one and 25% more than this one. You are required, the question is also in when we conducted research, if we have a bigger sample size, we exclude the extremes, and we have discussed when we were discussing the box plot interquartile range how to obtain the cutoff points for extremes and outliers. So here this question is based on upper extreme. Okay, so for upper, first of all we find the interquartile range, we multiply interquartile range by 3, and then whatever we get, that is added to the Q3 for the upper extreme, and that value is the cutoff point. So you will be doing the same thing here. First we will get the interquartile range, that is equal to 6.4 minus 4.5 means equal to 1.9. Okay, because you are looking for the extreme, you multiply this value by 3 and add it to the third quartile. So it is equal to third quartile is 6.4 plus 3 into 1.9, and you will get the value as 12.10, and that's the correct answer is 12.10. So for this question we are supposed to know how do we get the cutoff point for the extreme. If the question would have been the lower extreme, then this value would have been subtracted from Q1. Okay, good luck, all the best for MCQs in the examination.